0 to 1. 0 to 2. 1 to 2. 2 to 2. 2 to 3. 2 to 4. 2 to 5. 2 to 6. 3 to 6. 3 to 7. 4 to 7. 5 to 7. 6 to 7. 7 to 7. 7 to 8. 7 to 9. 8 to 9. 8 to 10. 8 to 11. 8 to 12. 9 to 12. 9 to 13. 9 to 14. 10 to 14. 10 to 15. 10 to 16. 10 to 17. 11 to 17. 12 to 17. 12 to 18. 12 to 19. 13 to 19. 14 to 19. 14 to 20. 15 to 20. 15 to 21. 16 to 21. 16 to 22. 17 to 22. 17 to 23. 18 to 23. 18 to 24. 18 to 25. 19 to 25. 19 to 26. 19 to 27. 20 to 27. 21 to 27. 21 to 28. 22 to 28. 23 to 28. 23 to 29. 24 to 29. 24 to 30. 25 to 30. 25 to 31. 26 to 31. 26 to 32. 26 to 33. 26 to 34. 27 to 34. 28 to 34. 29 to 34. 29 to 35. 29 to 36. 29 to 37. 29 to 38. 30 to 38. 30 to 39. 30 to 40. 30 to 41. 31 to 41. 32 to 41. 32 to 42. 32 to 43. 33 to 43. 34 to 43. 34 to 44. 34 to 45. 34 to 46. 34 to 47. 34 to 48. 34 to 49. 34 to 50. 35 to 50. 35 to 51. 35 to 52. 35 to 53. 35 to 54. 36 to 54. 37 to 54. 38 to 54. 38 to 55. 38 to 56. 39 to 56. 40 to 56. 41 to 56. 42 to 56. 43 to 56. 44 to 56. 45 to 56. 46 to 56. 46 to 57. 47 to 57. 48 to 57. 48 to 58. 49 to 58. 50 to 58. 50 to 59. 51 to 59. 52 to 59. 52 to 60. 53 to 60. 54 to 60. 54 to 61. 55 to 61. 56 to 61. 56 to 62. 56 to 63. 56 to 64. 56 to 65. 56 to 66. 56 to 67. 57 to 67. 57 to 68. 57 to 69. 57 to 70. 58 to 70. 58 to 71. 58 to 72. 58 to 73. 59 to 73. 59 to 74. 60 to 74. 61 to 74. 62 to 74. 63 to 74. 64 to 74. 65 to 74. 65 to 75. 66 to 75. 67 to 75. 68 to 75. 68 to 76. 68 to 77. 69 to 77. 70 to 77. 70 to 78. 70 to 79. 70 to 80. 70 to 81. 71 to 81. 71 to 82. 71 to 83. 72 to 83. 72 to 84. 72 to 85. 72 to 86. 72 to 87. 73 to 87. 73 to 88. 74 to 88. 75 to 88. 76 to 88. 76 to 89. 76 to 90. 77 to 90. 77 to 91. 77 to 92. 78 to 92. 78 to 93. 78 to 94. 79 to 94. 80 to 94. 81 to 94. 81 to 95. 81 to 96. 82 to 96. 82 to 97. 83 to 97. 84 to 97. 85 to 97. 86 to 97. 87 to 97. 88 to 97. 89 to 97. 90 to 97. 91 to 97. 91 to 98. 91 to 99. 92 to 99. 93 to 99. 94 to 99. 95 to 99. 95 to 100. 95 to 101. 96 to 101. 97 to 101. 98 to 101. 98 to 102. 99 to 102. 99 to 103. 100 to 103. 101 to 103. 102 to 103. 102 to 104. 103 to 104. 104 to 104. 105 to 104. 105 to 105. 105 to 106. 105 to 107. 105 to 108. 106 to 108. 106 to 109. 107 to 109. 107 to 110. 107 to 111. 108 to 111. 108 to 112. 108 to 113. 108 to 114. 109 to 114. 109 to 115. 110 to 115. 110 to 116. 110 to 117. 110 to 118. 110 to 119. 110 to 120. 110 to 121. 110 to 122. 110 to 123. 111 to 123. 112 to 123. 112 to 124. 112 to 125. 113 to 125. 113 to 126. 114 to 126. 115 to 126. 115 to 127. 115 to 128. 115 to 129. 116 to 129. 117 to 129. 117 to 130. 117 to 131. 118 to 131. 119 to 131. 120 to 131. 120 to 132. 120 to 133. 120 to 134. 121 to 134. 121 to 135. 122 to 135. 123 to 135. 124 to 135. 125 to 135. 126 to 135. 126 to 136. 126 to 137. 126 to 138. 127 to 138. 129 129 to 138. 130 to 138. 130 to 139. 131 to 139. 131 to 140. 131 to 141. 132 to 141. 133 to 141. 134 to 141. 135 to 141. 135 to 142. 135 to 143. 135 to 144. 135 to 145. 136 to 145. 137 to 145. 138 to 145. 138 to 146. 138 to 147. 139 to 147. 139 to 148. 140 to 148. 141 to 148. 141 to 149. 142 to 149. 142 to 150. 143 to 150. 144 to 150. 145 to 150. 145 to 151. 146 to 151. 146 to 152. 147 to 152. 147 to 153. 147 to 154. 148 to 154. 149 to 154. 150 to 154. 150 to 155. 151 to 155. 152 to 155. 152 to 156. 152 to 157. 153 to 157. 154 to 157. 154 to 158. 155 to 158. 156 to 158. 156 to 159. 157 to 159. 157 to 160. 157 to 161. 158 to 161. 159 to 161. 159 to 162. 160 to 162. 161 to 162. 162 to 162. 162 to 163. 163 to 163. 163 to 164. 164 to 164. 165 to 164. 166 to 164. 166 to 165. 167 to 165. 168 to 165. 168 to 166. 169 to 166. 170 to 166. 171 to 166. 172 to 166. 172 to 167. 172 to 168. 172 to 169. 173 to 169. 174 to 169. 174 to 170. 175 to 170. 176 to 170. 176 to 171. 177 to 171. 178 to 171. 178 to 172. 179 to 172. 180 to 172. 181 to 172. 181 to 173. 181 to 174. 181 to 175. 182 to 175. 182 to 176. 183 to 176. 183 to 177. 183 to 178. 184 to 178. 184 to 179. 184 to 180. 185 to 180. 186 to 180. 186 to 181. 186 to 182. 187 to 182. 188 to 182. 189 to 182. 189 to 183. 190 to 183. 190 to 184. 191 to 184. 191 to 185. 192 to 185. 192 to 186. 193 to 186. 194 to 186. 194 to 187. 195 to 187. 196 to 187. 196 to 188. 196 to 189. 197 to 189. 198 to 189. 198 to 190. 199 to 190. 200 to 190. 200 to 191. 201 to 191. 202 to 191. 203 to 191. 203 to 192. 203 to 193. 204 to 193. 204 to 194. 205 to 194. 206 to 194. 207 to 194. 207 to 195. 208 to 195. 209 to 195. 209 to 196. 209 to 197. 210 to 197. 211 to 197. 212 to 197. 213 to 197. 213 to 198. 214 to 198. 214 to 199. 214 to 200. 214 to 201. 215 to 201. 215 to 202. 215 to 203. 215 to 204. 215 to 205. 216 to 205. 216 to 206. 217 to 206. 218 to 206. 219 to 206. 219 to 207. 219 to 208. 220 to 208. 220 to 209. 220 to 210. 221 to 210. 221 to 211. 222 to 211. 222 to 212. 222 to 213. 223 to 213. 223 to 214. 224 to 214. 224 to 215. 225 to 215. 225 to 216. 225 to 217. 226 to 217. 227 to 217. 228 to 217. 228 to 218. 229 to 218. 229 to 219. 230 to 219. 230 to 220. 230 to 221. 230 to 222. 231 to 222. 231 to 223. 232 to 223. 232 to 224. 232 to 225. 232 to 226. 232 to 227. 233 to 227. 233 to 228. 233 to 229. 233 to 230. 234 to 230. 236 to 232. 236 to 233. 236 to 234. 237 to 234. 237 to 235. 237 to 236. 237 to 237. 237 to 238. 237 to 239. 237 to 240. 237 to 241. 238 to 241. 238 to 242. 239 to 242. 239 to 243. 239 to 244. 240 to 244. 240 to 245. 240 to 246. 241 to 246. 241 to 247. 242 to 247. 242 to 248. 243 to 248. 243 to 249. 244 to 249. 244 to 250. 244 to 251. 245 to 251. 245 to 252. 246 to 252. 246 to 253. 247 to 253. 248 to 253. 249 to 253. 249 to 254. 251 to 254. 251 to 255. 251 to 256. 251 to 257. 252 to 257. 253 to 257. 253 to 258. 254 to 258. 254 to 259. 255 to 259. 256 to 259. 256 to 260. 257 to 260. 257 to 261. 258 to 261. 258 to 262. 259 to 262. 260 to 262. 261 to 262. 262 to 262. 262 to 263. 263 to 263. 263 to 264. 263 to 265. 263 to 266. 263 to 267. 264 to 267. 265 to 267. 266 to 267. 267 to 267. 267 to 268. 267 to 269. 268 to 269. 268 to 270. 268 to 271. 268 to 272. 269 to 272. 270 to 272. 271 to 272. 272 to 272. 273 to 272. 273 to 273. 274 to 273. 275 to 273. 275 to 274. 276 to 274. 277 to 274. 278 to 274. 279 to 274. 279 to 275. 280 to 275. 280 to 276. 281 to 276. 281 to 277. 281 to 278. 281 to 279. 281 to 280. 281 to 281. 282 to 281. 283 to 281. 284 to 281. 284 to 282. 284 to 283. 285 to 283. 285 to 284. 285 to 285. 285 to 286. 285 to 287. 285 to 288. 286 to 288. 287 to 288. 288 to 288. 289 to 288. 289 to 289. 290 to 289. 290 to 290. 291 to 290. 291 to 291. 291 to 292. 291 to 293. 291 to 294. 292 to 294. 292 to 295. 292 to 296. 293 to 296. 293 to 297. 293 to 298. 293 to 299. 293 to 300. 294 to 300. 295 to 300. 296 to 300. 296 to 301. 296 to 302. 297 to 302. 298 to 302. 299 to 302. 300 to 302. 300 to 303. 301 to 303. 302 to 303. 302 to 304. 302 to 305. 303 to 305. 304 to 305. 304 to 306. 304 to 307. 305 to 307. 305 to 308. 305 to 309. 305 to 310. 306 to 310. 306 to 311. 306 to 312. 307 to 312. 307 to 313. 308 to 313. 308 to 314. 309 to 314. 309 to 315. 310 to 315. 311 to 315. 312 to 315. 312 to 316. 313 to 316. 313 to 317. 313 to 318. 313 to 319. 313 to 320. 313 to 321. 313 to 322. 313 to 323. 313 to 324. 314 to 324. 314 to 325. 314 to 326. 315 to 326. 316 to 326. 317 to 326. 317 to 327. 318 to 327. 318 to 328. 319 to 328. 320 to 328. 321 to 328. 321 to 329. 321 to 330. 322 to 330. 322 to 331. 322 to 332. 323 to 332. 323 to 333. 324 to 333. 324 to 334. 325 to 334. 326 to 334. 327 to 334. 328 to 334. 329 to 334. 330 to 334. 330 to 335. 331 to 335. 332 to 335. 333 to 335. 334 to 335. 335 to 335. 336 to 335. 336 to 336. 337 to 336. 337 to 337. 338 to 337. 338 to 338. 339 to 338. 339 to 339. 339 to 340. 339 to 341. 339 to 342. 340 to 342. 341 to 342. 342 to 342. 343 to 342. 344 to 342. 345 to 342. 346 to 342. 347 to 342. 348 to 342. 348 to 343. 348 to 344. 348 to 345. 348 to 346. 349 to 346. 349 to 347. 349 to 348. 350 to 348. 351 to 348. 352 to 348. 353 to 348. 354 to 348. 355 to 348. 355 to 349. 356 to 349. 357 to 349. 358 to 349. 359 to 349. 360 to 349. 360 to 350. 360 to 351. 361 to 351. 362 to 351. 363 to 351. 364 to 351. 365 to 351. 365 to 352. 366 to 352. 366 to 353. 366 to 354. 367 to 354. 368 to 354. 369 to 354. 370 to 354. 371 to 354. 371 to 355. 372 to 355. 373 to 355. 374 to 355. 375 375 to 355. 375 to 356. 376 to 356. 377 to 356. 378 to 356. 379 to 356. 379 to 357. 380 to 357. 381 to 357. 382 to 357. 382 to 358. 382 to 359. 382 to 360. 383 to 360. 383 to 361. 384 to 361. 384 to 362. 384 to 363. 385 to 363. 385 to 364. 385 to 365. 385 to 366. 386 to 366. 386 to 367. 387 to 367. 388 to 367. 388 to 368. 388 to 369. 388 to 370. 388 to 371. 389 to 371. 389 to 372. 389 to 373. 390 to 373. 391 to 373. 391 to 374. 392 to 376. 392 to 377. 393 to 377. 393 to 378. 394 to 378. 395 to 378. 396 to 378. 396 to 379. 396 to 380. 397 to 380. 398 to 380. 399 to 380. 400 to 380. 401 to 380. 401 to 381. 401 to 382. 401 to 383. 401 to 384. 402 to 384. 402 to 385. 402 to 386. 403 to 386. 404 to 386. 405 to 386. 406 to 386. 407 to 386. 407 to 387. 407 to 388. 407 to 389. 408 to 389. 408 to 390. 409 to 390. 409 to 391. 410 to 391. 410 to 392. 410 to 393. 411 to 393. 412 to 393. 413 to 393. 413 to 394. 413 to 395. 413 to 396. 413 to 398. 413 to 399. 413 to 400. 414 to 400. 414 to 401. 414 to 402. 414 to 403. 415 to 403. 415 to 404. 415 to 405. 415 to 406. 415 to 407. 415 to 408. 416 to 408. 417 to 408. 417 to 409. 418 to 409. 418 to 410. 419 to 410. 419 to 411. 419 to 412. 420 to 412. 421 to 412. 422 to 412. 422 to 413. 423 to 413. 423 to 414. 424 to 414. 424 to 415. 425 to 415. 425 to 416. 425 to 417. 426 to 417. 427 to 417. 428 to 417. 429 to 417. 430 to 417. 430 to 418. 431 to 418. 432 to 418. 432 to 420. 433 to 420. 433 to 422. 434 to 422. 434 to 424. 434 to 425. 435 to 425. 435 to 427. 436 to 427. 437 to 427. 438 to 427. 439 to 427. 440 to 427. 440 to 428. 441 to 428. 441 to 429. 441 to 430. 442 to 430. 442 to 432. 442 to 433. 443 to 433. 443 to 444 to 434. 445 to 434. 446 to 434. 446 to 435. 446 to 436. 446 to 437. 447 to 437. 447 to 438. 447 to 439. 447 to 440. 447 to 441. 447 to 442. 448 to 442. 448 to 443. 449 to 443. 449 to 444. 450 to 444. 450 to 445. 450 to 446. 451 to 446. 452 to 446. 453 to 446. 453 to 447. 453 to 448. 454 to 448. 454 to 449. 454 to 450. 454 to 451. 454 to 452. 454 to 453. 454 to 454. 455 to 454. 456 to 454. 456 to 455. 456 to 456. 457 to 456. 457 to 457. 457 to 458. 457 to 459. 458 to 459. 459 to 459. 459 to 460. 460 to 460. 460 to 461. 460 to 462. 461 to 462. 462 to 462. 462 to 463. 463 to 463. 464 to 463. 464 to 464. 465 to 464. 465 to 465. 465 to 466. 465 to 467. 465 to 468. 465 to 469. 466 to 469. 466 to 470. 467 to 470. 468 to 470. 468 to 471. 468 to 472. 469 to 472. 469 to 473. 469 to 474. 469 to 475. 469 to 476. 470 to 476. 471 to 476. 471 to 477. 471 to 478. 471 to 479. 471 to 480. 471 to 481. 472 to 481. 472 to 482. 472 to 483. 472 to 484. 473 to 484. 473 to 485. 473 to 486. 474 to 486. 475 to 486. 475 to 487. 476 to 487. 477 to 487. 477 to 488. 478 to 488. 479 to 488. 479 to 489. 480 to 489. 481 to 489. 481 to 490. 482 to 490. 482 to 491. 483 to 491. 484 to 491. 485 484 to 492. 485 to 492. 485 to 493. 485 to 494.
Ronaldo fan like. Ronaldo fan like.
486 to 494. 487 to 494. 487 to 495. 488 to 495. 489 to 495. 489 to 496. 490 to 496. 491 to 496. 491 to 497. 491 to 498. 492 to 498. 493 to 498. 493 to 499. 493 to 500. 494 to 500. 494 to 501. 495 to 501. 495 to 502. 495 to 503. 496 to 503. 496 to 504. 496 to 505.
Ronaldo fan like. Ronaldo fan like.
496 to 506. 496 to 507. 496 to 508. 497 to 508. 498 to 508. 498 to 509. 499 to 509. 499 to 510. 499 to 511. 499 to 512. 499 to 513. 499 to 514. 499 to 515. 499 to 516. 500 to 516. 500 to 517. 501 to 517. 501 to 518. 502 to 518. 502 to 519. 502 to 520. 503 to 520. 503 to 521. 503 to 522. 503 to 523. 503 to 524. 503 to 525. 503 to 526. 504 to 526. 504 to 527. 504 to 528. 505 to 528. 505 to 529. 505 to 530. 506 to 530. 507 to 530. 507 to 531. 508 to 531. 509 to 531. 509 to 532. 509 to 533. 510 to 533. 511 to 533. 511 to 534. 512 to 534. 512 to 535. 512 to 536. 512 to 537. 512 to 538. 513 to 538. 514 to 538. 514 to 539. 515 to 539. 515 to 540. 515 to 541. 515 to 542. 516 to 542. 517 to 542. 517 to 543. 517 to 544. 517 to 545. 518 to 545. 519 to 545. 519 to 546. 519 to 547. 519 to 548. 520 to 548. 521 to 548. 522 to 548. 522 to 549. 522 to 550. 522 to 551. 523 to 551. 523 to 552. 524 to 552. 525 to 552. 525 to 553. 526 to 553. 527 to 553. 527 to 554. 528 to 554. 529 to 554. 529 to 555. 529 to 556. 529 to 557. 530 to 557. 531 to 557. 532 to 557. 532 to 558. 533 to 558. 534 to 558. 535 to 558. 536 to 558. 537 to 558. 538 to 558. 538 to 559. 539 to 559. 540 to 559. 540 to 560. 541 to 560. 541 to 561. 541 to 562. 542 to 562. 543 to 562. 544 to 562. 545 to 562. 545 to 563. 545 to 564. 546 to 564. 546 to 565. 546 to 566.
Please like and subscribe. Ronaldo fan like.
546 to 547 to 567. 547 to 568. 548 to 568. 549 to 568. 549 to 569. 550 to 569. 551 to 569. 551 to 570. 552 to 570. 553 to 570. 553 to 571. 554 to 571. 554 to 572. 555 to 572. 555 to 573. 556 to 573. 556 to 574. 557 to 574. 557 to 575. 557 to 576. 558 to 576. 558 to 577. 559 to 577. 560 to 577. 561 to 577. 562 to 577. 563 to 577. 564 to 577. 565 to 577. 565 to 578. 566 to 578. 567 to 578. 567 to 579. 568 to 579. 568 to 580. 569 to 580. 569 to 581. 569 to 582. 570 to 582. 571 to 582. 571 to 583. 572 to 583. 572 to 584. 573 to 584. 574 to 584. 575 to 584. 575 to 585. 575 to 586. 575 to 587. 576 to 587. 576 to 588. 577 to 588. 578 to 588. 579 to 588. 580 to 588. 580 to 589. 580 to 590. 581 to 590. 582 to 590. 583 to 590. 584 to 590. 585 to 590. 586 to 590. 587 to 590. 588 to 590. 588 to 591. 588 to 592. 589 to 592. 590 to 592. 591 to 592. 592 to 592. 593 to 592. 593 to 593. 593 to 594. 594 to 594. 595 to 594. 595 to 595. 596 to 595. 597 to 595. 597 to 596. 597 to 597. 597 to 598. 598 to 598. 598 to 599. 599 to 599. 600 to 599. 601 to 599. 601 to 600. 601 to 601. 602 to 601. 603 to 601. 603 to 602. 604 to 602. 605 to 602. 605 to 603. 606 to 603. 606 to 604. 606 to 605. 606 to 606. 606 to 607. 607 to 607. 607 to 608. 608 to 608. 609 to 608. 610 to 608. 611 to 608. 612 to 608. 612 to 609. 613 to 609. 614 to 609. 615 to 609. 616 to 609. 617 to 609. 617 to 610. 617 to 611. 618 to 611. 619 to 611. 620 to 611. 620 to 612. 620 to 613. 620 to 614. 620 to 615. 621 to 615. 622 to 615. 623 to 615. 624 to 615. 624 to 616. 625 to 616. 626 to 616. 627 to 616. 627 to 617. 628 to 617. 628 to 618. 628 to 619. 628 to 620. 628 to 621. 629 to 621. 629 to 622. 629 to 623. 629 to 624. 629 to 625. 629 to 626. 629 to 627. 630 to 627. 630 to 628. 631 to 628. 632 to 628. 632 to 629. 633 to 629. 634 to 629. 634 to 630. 635 to 630. 636 to 630. 636 to 631. 636 to 632. 637 to 632. 637 to 633. 638 to 633. 639 to 633. 639 to 634. 639 to 635. 640 to 635. 641 to 635. 642 to 635. 643 to 635. 643 to 636. 644 to 636. 644 to 637. 644 to 645 to 637. 646 to 637. 647 to 637. 647 to 638. 647 to 639. 647 to 640. 648 to 640. 648 to 641. 648 to 642. 649 to 642. 650 to 642. 650 651 to 642. 652 to 642. 653 to 642. 653 to 643. 654 to 643. 654 to 644. 655 to 644. 656 to 644. 657 to 644. 657 to 645. 658 to 645. 658 to 646. 659 to 646. 659 to 647. 660 to 647. 661 to 647. 661 to 648. 661 to 649. 662 to 649. 663 to 649. 664 to 649. 665 to 649. 666 to 649. 667 to 649. 668 to 649. 668 to 650. 668 to 651. 668 to 652. 669 to 652. 670 to 652. 670 to 653. 670 to 654. 670 to 655. 671 to 655. 671 to 656. 672 to 656. 673 to 656. 674 to 656. 675 to 656. 675 to 657. 675 to 658. 675 to 659. 676 to 659. 676 to 660. 676 to 661. 677 to 661. 677 to 662. 678 to 662. 679 to 662. 679 to 663. 680 to 663. 680 to 664. 681 to 664. 682 to 664. 682 to 665. 683 to 665. 683 to 666. 684 to 666. 684 to 667. 684 to 668. 669. 685 to 671. 685 to 672. 685 to 673. 686 to 673. 687 to 673. 687 to 674. 688 to 674. 688 to 675. 689 to 675. 690 to 675. 691 to 675. 692 to 675. 692 to 676. 692 to 677. 693 to 677. 693 to 678. 693 to 679. 694 to 679. 694 to 680. 694 to 681. 695 to 681. 695 to 682. 696 to 682. 697 to 682. 697 to 683. 697 to 684. 697 to 685. 698 to 685. 698 to 686. 699 to 686. 700 to 686. Seven hundred to 687. 701 to 687. 701 to 688. 701 to 689, 702 to 689, 703 to 689, 703 to 690, 703 to 691, 703 to 692, 703 to 693, 703 to 694, 703 to 695, 704 to 695, 704 to 696, 704 to 697, 704 to 698, 705 to 698, 705 to 699, 705 to 700, 705 to 701, 705 to 702, 705 to 703, 705 to 704, 706 to 704, 707 to 704, 707 to 705, 708 to 705, 708 to 706, 709 to 706, 709 to 707, 710 to 707, 711 to 707, 711 to 708, 711 to 709, 712 to 709, 713 to 709, 713 to 710, 713 to 711, 714 to 711, 714 to 712, 714 to 713, 714 to 714, 714 to 715, 714 to 716, 714 to 717, 715 to 717, 715 to 718, 715 to 719, 715 to 720, 715 to 721, 716 to 721, 716 to 722, 716 to 723, 717 to 723, 717 to 724, 718 to 724, 718 to 725, 718 to 726, 719 to 726, 719 to 727, 720 to 727, 720 to 728, 721 to 728, 722 to 728, 723 to 728, 724 to 728, 725 to 728, 725 to 729, 725 to 730, 726 to 730, 726 to 731, 726 to 732, 726 to 733, 726 to 734, 726 to 735, 727 to 735, 727 to 736, 728 to 736, 728 to 737, 728 to 738, 729 to 738, 729 to 739, 730 to 739, 730 to 740, 730 to 741, 730 to 742, 730 to 743, 730 to 744, 731 to 744, 731 to 745, 732 to 745, 733 to 745, 734 to 745, 735 to 745, 736 to 745, 736 to 746, 736 to 747, 737 to 747, 738 to 747, 739 to 747, 740 to 747, 741 to 747, 742 to 747, 742 to 748, 742 to 749, 743 to 749, 744, 744 to 749, 744 to 750, $745 to $750, $745 to $751, $746 to $751, $747 to $751, $748 to $751, $749 to $751, $749 to $752, $749 to $753, $749 to $754, $749 to $755, 750 to 755, 750 to 756, 750 to 757, 750 to 758, 751 to 758, 752 to 758, 752 to 759, 752 to 760, 752 to 761, 752 to 762, 753 to 762, 753 to 763, 753 to 764, 754 to 764, 754 to 765, 754 to 766, 755 to 766, 756 to 766, 756 to 767, 757 to 767, 758 to 767, 759 to 767, 759 to 768, 10 to 5. 759 to 769, 759 to 770, 760 to 770, 760 to 771, 760 to 772, 761 to 772, 762 to 772, 762 to 773, 762 to 774, 762 to 775, 762 to 776, 763 to 776, 764 to 776, 764 to 777, 765 to 777, 766 to 777, 767 to 777, 768 to 777, 768 to 778, 769 to 778, 769 to 779. 770 to 779. 770 to 780. 771 to 780. 772 to 780. 773 to 780. 773 to 781. 773 to 782. 773 to 783. 773 to 784. 773 to 785. 773 to 786. 773 to 787.
Okay guys, last game tomorrow live
773 to
stream. Okay,
788.
last game
774 to
800
788.
800 last target 800
775 to
last target
788.
800 last
775
target
to 789.
800 last target. Who will
776
win?
to 789.
Comment your favorite player. Who is the real god? Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Who is the real god?
776 to 790. 776 to 791. 776 to 792.
Last match 800 last match.
776 to 793.
Who will win? Who is the real god?
776 to 794. 777 to 794. 777 to 795. 778 to 795. 779 to 795. 779 to 796. 779 to 797. 780 to 797. 780 to 798. 780 to 799. 780 to 800.
Okay. Cristiano Ronaldo winner. Winner is Cristiano Ronaldo. Win. Cristiano Ronaldo winner. Messi lose. Okay. Good night. Win. Cristiano Ronaldo. Win. Okay. Good night. Tomorrow live stream. Okay. Good night. Cristiano Ronaldo is the real god. Messi lose, Cristiano Ronaldo winner. Messi lose, Cristiano Ronaldo winner. Okay, good night. Like and subscribe. Okay, good night. Tomorrow live stream.